Friends, we start now the online summer course 2021. This is the second time that we do it as an online program because of COVID-19. But in the past, starting from 1987, we did in a different place with the time of immersion, sending the Christian to live in Muslim family for some weekends and Muslim in Christian families. This year, the 35th Silsila summer course of Muslim Christian dialogue is still online. Personally, I have many good memories of the past summer courses. I remember we started in May 1987 for our Muslim Christian staff, and after we received many requests to do more. We continue to be faithful up to now. The summer course became along the years an important program of Silsila with participants from different parts of the country and also from other countries. I cannot forget the joyful atmosphere of the many, not only participants, but also resource persons, Muslim Christian scholars and leaders. Unfortunately, in the 90s, we experienced a painful time when the group identified as Abu Sayyaf and other Muslim groups were not happy to see the success of Silsila in gathering Muslim and Christian, in building friendship and dialogue, so they decide to stop us during the summer course of 1992. The victim was Father Salvatore Carceda Pime. The Lord spared me from this terrible plan. It was painful for all of us. In that occasion, we did the graduation of the summer course in front of the coffin of Father Salvatore, my good friend, who arrived with me in the Philippines in 1977. He was full of energy and enthusiasm. In that occasion, together, Muslim and Christian of Silsila, we came up with the message of Padayon, move on, convinced that was not the end, but the beginning of a new page in the history of Silsila. That was the time when I was invited to leave the Philippines and go back to Italy, because I was a target of the same group. It was for me the second exile in my own country. The first exile was in 1981 when I was ambushed by the military in my effort to help the Moro National Liberation Front for peace in my mission in Siocon. In 1995, I was able to come back from my second exile, and I was assigned as a second secretary of the Catholic Bishops' Conference Commission for Interreligious Dialogue. Many things happened in that years, including a heart problem, but I survived. And that was also the time when we started to build some facilities in Harmony Village, a big land donated to Silsila in Zamboanga City. The developments of Harmony Village have been fast, thanks to friends who help us. Thanks to these developments, for many years, we have done the Silsila Summer course in Harmony Village. It was a beautiful experience that challenged us to do more and organize the Silsila Forum with the alumni of the summer course in different places in Mindanao and in Manila. On the occasion of the 30th anniversary of the summer course, we prepared a special program presenting an exhibit of the different summer courses, giving also attention to the 4 martyrs of dialogue among the alumni of Silsila. They are Father Salvatore Carceda Pime, killed in Zamboanga City in 1992, Bishop Ben de Jesus in Oimai, killed in Olo in 1997, Father Roel Gallardo, a Clarician, killed in Basilan in the year 2000, and Father Jesus Reynaldo Roda, Oimai, killed in Tawi-Tawi area in 2008. I cannot forget them. They are among our inspiration of Paday and Move On, but also I cannot forget the many other alumni, Muslim Christians, who have been transformed by the Silsila Summer course. One of the great experience of the Silsila Summer course is the immersion program. Because of this program, along the years, we have formed 200 families, Muslim and Christians. They are called foster parents. They have given to the alumni many good lessons of their poverty and kindness in the spirit of dialogue. Now, we are here only online. And I hope we can bring the spirit of the Silsila Summer course to you in this form online, with the hope that you will do something more in your own area, vocation, profession, to share the spirit of this summer course that is love and hate in Christianity and Islam, and how to transform hate to love and to be an instrument of peace in the midst of violent extremism and terrorism. This presentation is an introduction to help us to enter in the spirit of the 35th Silsila Summer Course on Muslim-Christian Dialogue. In this first topic, we are invited to reflect on love and hate in the history of religions, focusing on Christianity and Islam. We dream that religions promote always love, but we know that religion have been victims of violence and promoters of violence in the past, but also now in different degrees and forms. Here, we focus our attention more on Christianity and Islam, the two biggest religions of the world, but also those religions that have shaped the good and in bad time the history. In this introduction, I choose some events in the history where Christianity and Islam have been protagonists of change of history and culture in many parts of the world. We cannot ignore that Christianity has started to be victim of the culture and religions, starting from Jesus Christ put on the cross because he was accused of blasphemy. And after the persecution of Christians under the Roman Empire, because this new religion for them was dangerous. But Christians along the history were tempted to use the power of the word. Inquisitions and other forms of violence were used, including the Crusades, that we can justify in the logic of power, but not in the logic of Christian spirit. In this context, we present here a beautiful story of 8 centuries ago, the story of Saint Francis of Assisi.
Sorcerer. Come, Christian.
We found him in the Sahara.
Now! If that man is not mad, he's a spy. Here is a gold coin. And tell Ali to kill him immediately. Take him! Out!
I'm the enemy of no man. The God of love sends me to speak with you, King of the East. I am told you speak to animals, and they understand your words.
If they do, it is because I love them, as I love all God's creatures.
You love us too? Your enemies?
Of course.
This God you speak of, why did he send you to see me?
To reach your heart. Not with the sword, but with his love. Through the love in my heart.
All this love. You wish to surrender your armies?
They're not mine to surrender. I ask only for peace.
How can there be peace with no surrender?
If you would embrace the faith of our Lord Jesus Christ, peace must follow.
I didn't learn your language to hear these insults. You wish to die?
I am prepared to die for peace.
You die a brave man, but you are not reasonable. You want me to worship your Christ, but I reply, you come to Mohammed. You embrace the faith of the great prophet of God. There also lies peace.
Order your servants to build a great fire. Let me and your priest enter its flames. Then God may show us whose is the greater faith.
My priests do not appear eager to submit to your test. However, I'll see to it that they accept your challenge. Have a fire built in front of the tent.
Oh, Sultan, I beg you, do not sacrifice me for this man's madness.
Allah has not been served well today. But fear in a few priests is not enough to prove that you are right.
Then I will enter the fire alone.
Have you no fear at all?
I fear only my sins. For if I should be burned to death, it would be due only to them. But if God protects me, you must admit that both his power and compassion are very great.
I would.
Then will you promise, both for yourself and for your people, that if I come out of this fire unharmed, you will embrace the faith of my God?
What is it that gives you such courage? Your faith or your blindness?
My faith in God's love.
Is it your God's great love that drives Christians to fight wars? To kill? To plunder and destroy? Do they deserve sacrifices such as yours?
If men were more perfect, they would need less compassion. God is not in the sword or in the taking of life, but in the giving of life. For he is love. God go with me.
Stop. Don't kill yourself. Return to your people in safety and tell the Christians that if they were all like you, I would not hesitate to kneel to your God. And if our peoples continue to pursue the ways of hate, then war upon war will return until we will become the destroyers of the world. Only Allah knows which of us is right. I will arrange a safe journey for you to the city of your Christ, Jerusalem. Stay there in peace. You have not made a Christian today, but you have made a true friend.
That is the first step. Peace be with you.
Damietta, the strongest fortification in Egypt. I also hear the richest. The plunder alone will justify the struggle.
Please help me. Water. Water. Please. Please help me. Water.
As the Holy War helps the Holy Brother to see what life really amounts to.
Paulo.
Have you come all this distance to help thy enemy? Are you still living in a dream? If you help that man today, tomorrow he will kill you.
And so he will have known Christian compassion.
Don't you preach at me. You're sick, you're blind. Can't you see the world as it really is? Look around you, feel it, smell it. Here is the truth. He'll not win any converts here. They've got all they want in victory, and the fruits of victory.
If this is victory, blessed be defeat. I pray forgiveness for what Christians have done in God's name.
You believe in love, Francis? Well, so do I. And won't you join me in loving thy enemy? A beautiful black Nubian, Safaran-skinned beauty from the Far East? Huh? Are you sneering at me a little, Saint?
There's no justifying this. This is killing for killing's sake, Paulo.
Islam also started with good teaching of love, but also many pages of violence to conquer countries and territories. This attitude still emerges here and there in many forms, also in the Philippines and other parts of the world. The past history of Christianity and Islam is marked with many acts of goodness, but also violence, including slavery that was practiced in different levels, also by Christians and Muslims. 500 years ago, Christians arrived in this part of the world that we call now Philippines. We know that all of us are victims of the past, but there is a hope for the future. I close this presentation with signs of hope, quoting the Vatican II Council in one of its documents, Nostra Aetate. We read, "Since in the course of centuries not a few quarrels and hostilities have arisen between Christians and Muslims, this sacred synod urged all to forget the past and to work sincerely for mutual understanding and to preserve, as well as to promote together for the benefit of all mankind, social justice and moral welfare, as well as peace and freedom." Also, Pope Francis has initiated some of these signs of hope and reconciliation and love with all, including the Muslim. He went a few years ago to Egypt on the occasion of the 800 years anniversary of the history of Saint Francis of Assisi and the Sultan Malik in Damiat in Egypt. With this spirit, Pope Francis went also to Abu Dhabi and Iraq. We conclude that there is a hope if all of us are open to accept also the mistake of the past and of the present done by Christians and Muslims. We are invited to write a new page of history of dialogue and hope. We can also contribute online with this program. For sure, this summer course will offer many challenges, and I hope that many participants from the Philippines and other countries will benefit. In this contest, I wish that from the sharing, you can answer some questions and come up with a reflection during our 10 weeks of our Silsila Summer Course 2021. We will come up with a collection of reflection in a form of a book that expresses the feeling of all of us, Muslim, Christians, and people of different faith in the Philippines, reflecting on the last 500 years of Christianity in this country. Together, indigenous people, Muslim and Christians, we can ask forgiveness to one another for the mistake of the past, but also expressing appreciation for lessons learned in living together. With this spirit, I close this presentation introducing to you two friends. One is Dr. Jenny, who will give a reflection on a view on this topic, but also on this summer course in general. And Father Willie Sanson, a Jesuit, that I interview online on the specific point of love. Consider that this is the focus of our summer course. How to be transformed and find in love the source of real dialogue.
Peace, joy, and well-being. This is Dr. Genevieve Balance Kupang, the chairperson of the Special Interest Groups of the World Council for Curriculum and Instruction, a researcher and co-author of World Religions and Belief Systems, works with various scholars of Islam and other religions in many parts of the world, a core team member of the Episcopal Commission on Interreligious Dialogue of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, a member of the Uni Harmony Partners Manila, the Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees of Sandiwa, and a network of advocates for national minorities' rights and indigenous peoples' concerns, and a correspondent of Presensa, an international press agency. I'd like to greet everyone a pleasant day of learning and co-learning in this sacred space. At the onset, I would like to thank the founder of the Silsila Dialogue Movement, Reverend Father Sebastiano de Ambra, for inviting me to share a bit of what I know regarding the topic on love and hate and Islam, but in particular, how we can transform or transcend hate into love in these very challenging times where there is social disintegration, violence amidst the many padded challenges that we are experiencing, like this pandemic. In my research on world religions and belief systems, I found this piece, which I'm going to share with you, very meaningful. Perhaps one of your assignments is to create an artwork which will express the meaning of the message of the piece. The title of which is "The Whole World is One Nest" from Upanishads. We are the birds of the same nest. We may have different skins. We may speak in different tongues. We may believe in different religions. We may belong to different cultures, yet we share the same home, our Earth. Born of the same planet, covered by the same skies, gazing at the same stars, breathing the same air, we must learn to happily progress together or miserably perish together. Human beings can live individually but can only survive collectively. In today's sharing, I'm going to share a bit about the emergence of religions. About 10,000 years ago, at the onset of civilization, world religions and belief systems emerged and began to shape human society. In today's world, more than half of humanity's total population practices a major religion, spiritual expression, or indigenous tradition. And as you know for a fact, Christians and Muslims consist the majority of that pie of believers or adherents. In many countries, including the Philippines, great spiritual traditions and religious beliefs continue to shape the lives of people and play an important role in the different aspects of culture. There is an increasing cultural diversity that has led to a variety of faith beliefs practiced side by side. This makes it vital for people like you, like us, as learners, lifelong learners, to understand religions, its history and ramifications, good or bad, to people. It is also not an exaggeration to say that in some parts of the country or the world, it is experiencing social disintegration, violence, and even war due to religious extremism, fanaticism, and fundamentalism. Some people are becoming more and more disillusioned and anxious about religious violence. Several are also disconnected from the real religious ideals and values. This makes our session important, as you will understand the historical context of religion, appreciate their uniqueness and similarities, how the centers of power, like some colonizers in the past, before, deviated and strayed from the true essence of love of God and love of neighbor. And this has created distrust, suspicion, cynicism, anger, that even led to uprisings by the oppressed masses towards the conquerors or colonizers of the past who claimed to be preaching about God but did otherwise. The goal of these learning sessions are to promote mutual awareness, sensitivity, understanding, and respect among believers of different faiths. Each one of us is called to build an inclusive and diverse environment that promotes mutual understanding and appreciation. It is our hope that each of you will deeply appreciate your own religious tradition while having an open consciousness to develop deep esteem of other faith beliefs and appreciate genuine acceptance and compassion for all. Dr. Alan Palmer and Dr. Abdullahi Galab expressed that Islam's relationship with the West, though it goes far into antiquity, has been overburdened and with rivalries and marred by conflicts. From the Christian Crusades of the Middle Ages to the fatwa of Salman Rushdie at the close of the millennium, the predominantly Christian societies of Western Europe and North America have been suspicious and fearful of Muslims. Conversely, Muslim adherents of Islam find much in Western social values and practices antithetical to their tradition. The arena of conflict between these communities is changing rapidly, primarily to the technological innovations of the information age and the confrontation of cultures. No longer are geographical boundaries adequate to separate these cultures. Western values are propagated by TV programs via satellite into the Islamic nations of the Middle East, Asia, and North Africa. At the same time, Muslims of the diaspora are creating religious cultural enclaves using Arabsat in the internet as well as traditional channels. Yet, recent Islamic migrants to Western nations face the dilemma of finding their authentic voice in popular Western cultures, balanced against their fears of cultural assimilation and loss of identity. They seek to know how is it possible to move toward the center of Western culture without compromising deeply held religious beliefs and traditions. The Western secular model privileges a rational, reasoning mind in the pursuit of individual and collective fulfillment, and Islam's model emphasizes justice in tradition as the basis of a legitimate community and family life. Ahmed, way back in 1992, has been especially outspoken about the role of Western media creating an inverse version of Islam's worldview, saying, by their consistently hammered-headed onslaught, he was referring then to the mass media, have succeeded in portraying a negative image of Islam. The Western media offend Muslims at two levels. First, Muslims are often demonized in media programs as fundamentalists, terrorists, or religious zealots. And second, many Western cultural practices, including drinking alcohol, gambling, and permissive sexual activities, are too offensive for Islamic moral ethical traditions. Religion gives rise to many positive and negative effects on people, communities, and nations. The benefits and detriments brought about by religion result from the action of their respective believers. Thus, religions are not essentially evil, but may be used as instruments for evil or violent acts. Religious beliefs can have psychological, personal, and social communal benefits, such as an increased ability to cope with adverse life events, lower levels of stress, lower tendencies to engage in violent and delinquent behavior, a stronger sense of community, and better overall psychological health. Religion has also inspired many of the greatest creative minds in history to create masterpieces in the fields of literature, music, and the arts. That is not only true in Christianity and Islam, but also is true in Hinduism, in Buddhism, Wiccan, Ikankar, Baha'i faith, and among many others. Religion also promotes charitable and humanitarian activities and movements. We have done this a lot. In spite of the pandemic, for example, the UniHarmony, in collaboration with its networks or partners, have been doing charitable acts of goodness towards, for example, our Muslim brothers and sisters, offering them food. On the other hand, they have also invited us in their communities to also share iftar with them, things like that. Many religious organizations sponsor and implement numerous spiritual, philanthropic, charitable programs for the welfare of others, especially the poor, the destitute, and those suffering the onslaught of both natural and man-made calamities. So we have seen a lot of community pantries. That is actually an offshoot of their faith belief system for them that encourages them to do charitable acts to others, especially to those who have less in life. Religion can also cause great harm to society, as we have seen in the past. The most apparent and immediate way in which religion can be harmful is when adherents of one religion inflict violence on other religious groups, and we have seen this in many parts of the world. Religion also have a tendency to discriminate against women, lesbians, gay people, bisexual, transgender, queers, and intersex people. They are also the victims of violence and prejudice due to belief systems. Religions have also occasionally hampered scientific progress, such as when the Catholic Church dismissed, attacked, and even implemented a ban on the works of Copernicus and Galileo on the heliocentric model of the solar system, although our church fathers had sought forgiveness on this. And when religion also was used to justify the ban on the teaching of evolution in US schools in the 1920s. On the other hand, adherents of particular religions can also be the victims rather than the perpetrators of violence. In the United States, Jews remain the biggest targets of religious hate crimes. Religious tolerance, understanding, and respect, and interreligious dialogue are therefore means by which individuals and communities can address the negative effects of religion and establish greater understanding and appreciation of the diversity of beliefs within a community. As an advocate and practitioner of interreligious dialogue, I would encourage you all to enjoy this summer course being offered by the Silsila Dialogue Movement. I am also one of their alumna, and I have appreciated the work of Father Sebastiano de Ambra. So enjoy the sessions, and I wish you peace, joy, and well-being.
My dear friends, today we have with us Father Willie Samson. It's a good friend. You will see him in the next topic to present to us a very important aspect of the next topic. But I start to interview him and to ask a question that I I got from the second topic, but it is very relevant for the first topic. The first topic that we are presenting in the first topic of the summer course is love and hate in the history of religions, focusing on Christianity and Islam. We know how much hatred have been in the past, also on the part of religious people or institution. But the topic that we want to develop is love. Practically, the topic will be we want to reach to this point how to transform hate in love and to be an instrument of peace in the midst of violent extremism and terrorism. Now, please, Father Willie, tell me something about this point. I heard in your topic that will be presented next week something very important. You said love-oriented, not result-oriented. And this is very important in all fields, also in interreligious dialogue. Can you explain more about this insight?
Yeah, actually, I remember many years ago when I was still in Zamboanga, I was actually involved also in the interreligious with the Muslims and Christians. And during that time, I realized that it was actually very, very difficult because we may gain some achievements or progress, but unfortunately, when the war will broke again between Muslims and Christians because of this terrorism, all those things are actually will simply collapse. I realized that if I am a result-oriented person, I will say I give up. It's useless. When I look at the history of Muslims and Christians, it is always like that. We are building, and then it will collapse. What's the point of doing all those things if that one will collapse? And so I said, if our own orientation is very, very result-oriented attitude, I guess we shall never reach our own goal. In other words, we are supposed to be love-oriented. In other words, for St. Ignatius of Loyola, with or without result, we are supposed to proceed. With or without victory, we are supposed to do it. Because in the end, I know and I do believe, Father said, that there's no such thing as wasted love. Somehow I know that one of these days, everything that we are doing will bring us to a certain direction of total unity. Because if you know how to love, if you really love life, you don't surrender. You continue. Because surrendering must not be part of our own attitude and spirituality. When I came here in Caloocan, I realized that helping the poor is not also easy. Because we are always telling them that it is important for us to protect life, and then one of these days, someone will be killed. And sometimes I realize also that the poor are also very, very selfish. Sometimes I said, it's useless working with the poor. There are so many frustrations. But I realize that the Lord is also telling me that look at me. Look at me. And I realized that I need not to surrender, because I realized that when the Lord died on the cross, we thought that everything will be over. And yet people are still sinning. And yet the Lord decided to do it because He realized that love should not surrender. And so somehow I realized, if you're going to ask me, Father said, what keeps me going in spite of the reality that there are so many frustrations in my own ministry, is the realization of the importance of forgiveness.
Very good.
Because every time I forgive, I realize that it releases me from resentment and anger, and also to the possibility of giving up. Because the Lord will never say, I give up. Because the Lord knows the essence of forgiveness. That every time I forgive, a new sense of hope comes to me. a new sense of life comes to me that I will never ever give up. You know, somehow in my own experience, this is actually true with regard to people who are sick of cancer. They know that they are dying of cancer. They know that their life is only 1 month, and yet they will still love, because it's not a matter of it is not a matter of time, but it is a matter of loving. I guess this is also something that I need to consider, that even if there's no result, I'm going to continue because this is where God wants me to go.
Okay, I think this insight is very nice and help us to really help our participants of the summer course who are from different parts of the country, also other countries, to enter in this spirit. In the presentation, I said also how the summer course started, etc. And you are a message not to surrender. It's practically what it's our spirit in Silsila. For many reasons, Silsila has been invited to surrender, especially in 92 when Father Salvatore was killed. It was presented a while ago in the presentation. But we continue, and we are at the 35th summer course and the 37th anniversary of Silsila No Matter. And hopefully we have always friends like you to inspire others, and we continue to spread love in spite of so many difficulties, and there is a better future for the future, and maybe the 500 years of Christianity that we are celebrating will be an occasion to reconcile in the spirit of love with the Muslim, indigenous people, everybody. And thank you very much for your testimony. I stop here because I know the next Saturday you will say to us many other things in this line. Thank you very much. That is all. I wish that this summer course will contribute to give new insight and inspiration to live in hope in this year, 2021, the 500 year of Christianity in the Philippines. The hope to be an occasion of new journey of reconciliation and friendship, especially among Christian, Muslim, indigenous people. We are invited to do more and better. I hope and pray that COVID-19 that have affected the life of all can help many to remove barriers of division and to understand more that we are one human family, and we have to respect and love each other as brothers and sisters. God bless you, and padayon.